Hi, this webcast is about how you can use a section manager. Basically, you don't need anything but the core MineScape functionality. I'm showing it based on the project for the Russian ore mining company, so you might see some Russian names in the names of the files. Don't be upset with that. The whole interface is in English, and this is just to illustrate that we can actually use some regional alphabets in naming the objects. So coming back to the section manager, first I will try to visualize the ore body. Uh, this is the one, quite steep slope. And now that's the triangulation, as you can see. Now we will try to make a series of sections through this ore body. So all the sections functionality is located in the view section submenu. We can detach that for convenience purposes and make it look a bit nicer. Like this, and as in any other MineScape menu, you would have to go from top to bottom, and we will start with the define sections. When you click on define sections, you would have the define sections dialog box, in which you can actually define the way how you will be building your sections. Basically, there are various ways of building the sections. I usually use the simplest way, which is strike and dip. You basically define the first line, and then you define the direction in which you want your sections to go. You define the step, and that's basically it. But you can also go through different sophisticated things, like you can have a named plane well in advance, and you can make sections through the named planes, or you can make them parallel to the axes, meaning the XYZ. You can make it as for the bench, if you have benches in your project. You can do the follow element if you have several elements and you want to follow it, and you also have a point on axis and nominated lines. Those two are used for the redesign module. So let's try the simplest one. First we'll put a name, and we'll leave it with strike and dip. We also, the default plane dip would be 90 degrees if we want to make it vertical, or any other value. Be careful when making the dip smaller than 45 degrees. It might cause certain trouble. The section step would basically depend on the uh, size of the model. In my case, 100 meters would be probably a bit too much, so I'll make it 50. Numbers of sections to create, you may leave it blank. It would actually calculate the amount once you select the line from which you want to generate your sections, and then you will select till what point you want to have them generated. I will leave the naming convention for a while, and I will switch to controls. For controls, we have the section width. The section width actually defines the corridor within which the data would be displayed from the plane of the section. So it would, in this case, if I define 50 meters, it means that I would display 25 meters before the section and then 25 meters after the section. The bird's eye window you can switch on and off, depends on what you want. The section grid you can switch on as well if you want to have the temporary graphics displaying the coordinate grid. The drafting plane I would put to the section, which would be quite okay. Uh, so to make sure that everything I draw when I start working with the sections would be placed on a particular section. Then I would have to do the just to make sure that everything I draw when I start working with the sections would appear in the section plane. Uh, For different visualization related to the graphics which is located before and after the section plane, you can even select different display definitions. If you don't, then the default display definition would be applied for the graphics. So that's basically it. We can switch back to create window and go into the naming convention. The thing is that if you are generating more than one sections, it would be a bit boring to create like to enter the names, for example, for every single section manually. It would be a bit difficult. So if you select this and hit apply, uh, you would design your the location of your sections, and then after every section it would ask you please input the name. This is not really what we want. We want to automate it a little bit, so we'll go to naming convention. For naming convention, the simplest thing is to put the kind of a template value and then to put the increment. So as far as we are building sections, I would put the prefix as SEC, sorry, and I will put the initial value as 001, and the increment would also be 001. Be sure that you put enough zeros here, because if you, for example, say section 01 or simply section 1 and then put the increment 1, it would go only until section 9 and will not proceed further. So just put enough zeros. In this case, I guess it would be more than enough for me, as far as this template would allow me to generate 999 sections, which is far more than I need. Now I can try to hit apply and we will see what the system will ask me. It asks pick at least 2 points on a plane. Well, in this case I have pretty regular ore body made out of grids, so I can really position my section quite precisely over here. In your case, you might want first to draw a line properly positioned and then simply snap to this line when creating the first section line. So I will try to snap over here, and I'll try to snap over here, and that's basically it. So I press Q on the keyboard to quit, and you can see that it has generated a template for section number 001. So it has honored my naming convention. Now it asks me pick point to generate sections to, means that I need to select the direction and I need to select the endpoint. In this case, the endpoint would be obviously the end of my ore body. So I will try to simply click somewhere here on the border, and it has taken the 50 meters corridor which I have defined for the sections, and it has calculated that it will be 23 sections created. So I click on OK, and voila, we have all the sections schematically displayed, and I can rotate the graphics so you can see and enjoy the correctness of how this form works. You can see this rectangle showing the corresponding position of every single section, and that's about it for the actual sections creation in the sections manager. In the next webcast I would show you what you can do with them, what you can do with the already created section spec.